So welcome to this WUN podcast in a series of podcasts by the Women's Utilities Network. Today's podcast is going to be all about the WUN story so far and what is on the radar for the future, what's there to look forward to about where we're going and what we're doing. I'm joined today by founders, board members and the wider Women's Utilities Network team to talk about our journey so far and give you something to look forward to about what we're doing in the future. So my name's Hayley Monks. I'm co-founder of the Women's Utility Network and I'm joined today by Jo, Sharon and Karen. Jo, do you want to kick us off by introducing yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Jo Butlin. I'm, like Hayley, one of the founders of WUN and a director of WUN. And I'm also, with my other hats, I've got several non-exec directorships as well. So I have many small plates spinning, but all in the energy space and all super exciting businesses.
Thank you. Thanks for coming today as well. Sharon.
Hi. So Sharon Sage. Thanks, Hayley. So I've been a WUN board member for nearly 2 years, but actually been part of WUN since day dot. Day job, a senior manager at EDF, and I've been in the energy industry for 18 years. So I can't quite believe it. But thanks for today.
Long time.
I know.
And Karen.
So hi, I'm Karen Anderson and I work for WUN. I have the very privileged position of this being my full-time job. I'm the Programme Development Manager and that means spinning all the various different plates for all the things that we do for our members and our partners. I've been in the energy industry for just over 20 years, most of that with EDF and more recently have joined WUN.
Fabulous. So Women's Utility Network, Jo, I mean, 6 years.
It's amazing,
6 years
isn't it? Absolutely amazing.
Since we had that original lunch and decided that this would be a great idea to form this much needed network. Take us back to that time. Give us a flavour for kind of,
How it all started.
Yeah, how it all started, yeah.
In the best way, it started over lunch. Ladies who lunched, which was quite a nice novel thing. But actually, there were 6 of us who had all reached reasonably senior roles in our organisations, working in the largely energy sector. And we were really frustrated because we'd all sort of didn't feel we'd been particularly prejudiced or had a tough time. But actually, when you looked at the statistics, the numbers in senior roles were still woeful. And so we just decided we needed to do something. And the conversation at that lunch was very much, but if we do something, we don't want it to be a sort of burn your bra thing, or we don't want it to be very much men bashing. It's about actually what can we do that's practical and supportive of women. And that's really been the sort of guiding light of everything we've done ever since. And I just can't believe we are now 7,500 members and 60 plus partners. So we're doing something right.
Yeah. And one of the things I do recall was we wanted it to be open for all. It wasn't just about senior women. It was about all women in the sector.
And very much recognising that different women will have different career ambitions and different career paths. And actually, we wanted to support all of them. So it's not just about seniority. Not everybody wants to be sitting on boards and things like that.
So it is about 6 years ago we held our first event. And I know, Sharon, whilst you weren't part of the inaugural founders, you were at that very first event.
I was. Yeah, I'd like to say bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but it was only 6 years ago. However, I wasn't in my senior position then, actually. So yeah, you're quite right, actually, sort of coming in and just, I could just remember it so vividly, actually, in London. And it was an evening, which was quite unusual as well, to be doing a bit of networking in the evening and just proper like-minded individuals. But for me, it was the fact, all I've known is energy, power, electricity, just mixing with kind of all walks of life through all different types of utilities. The goodie bag, of course, was pretty amazing, but it just was like that sense of, collaboration, I think, for me. And then sort of taking a bit of reflection on where I was in my career, what I wanted to do, speaking to other people, making good friendships, and then just sort of progressing and coming to sort of like every meeting since then, and then sort of, to where I'm now. But yeah, I think it was just something a bit new that we hadn't had definitely before that I'd seen in the industry. So
I was going to ask what attracted you to come.
Well, it was just, the amount of times I've been on a call or in a meeting and I'll be the only female. But actually for me, it was talking to people outside of my organisation. So it was that offer of having, a safe space where you could speak, learn, have a bit of a moan, workshops and things through with people who you don't see in your day to day, but just because they're not in your sort of inner circle where you are, they're still going through the same struggles. So I just found that really refreshing to speak to other people.
Fabulous. And over those 6 years, I mean, I probably could have got some stats. I know Helen's quoted them before. We've got, dozens of podcasts now. We've
60,
done,
I think she said.
Yeah. Excellent. And we've done maybe 150 events. If you include One for All and the growth in members. So a bit of a sort of pinchy moment, Jo, in terms of the journey.
Absolutely. And I remember you and I actually leaving one of our events. It was we had the Google offices, and we both walked out absolutely buzzing and just going, what have we done? What's happened? And actually, I think the energy in the room was what really, really, I mean, it's tangible. You can feel it. And there is something about being a group of professional, ambitious, energetic women in a room together that creates such a buzz. And I think it's energizing for women, particularly if you are the only woman in an organisation or you're constantly the only. We often talk about it being the tribe, and actually I think it is. It's almost a tribe. It's supportive and it's genuinely supportive. I mean, when you say the pinch me moments, I mean, I almost pinch everything we do now. It's almost like, my goodness me. But I think it's because we're not hierarchical. We're not, we're genuinely supportive, and there's that ethos runs through everything we do and everybody. So we really do work as a team. And that for me is what creates the essence of WUN, and that's what attracts people to us and actually attracts partners to us. They can see we're doing good things.
Yeah, and I think there's a huge difference. So going back maybe 4-5 years ago, I remember trying to drum up partnership and working hard to get people to come and partner with us and fund us and support us to do the things that we do, because everything we do is free for the women who are our members. And we're very grateful to all our partners for the support they've given us to enable us to do that. And now, 6 years on, we have partners calling us
constantly.
And we have Karen. So, our first official full-time person running the network on our behalf. So I suppose, Karen, we'll start with, leaving EDF after 20 years. Coming to help run a women's network.
Absolutely. And I obviously have not been involved in the network as long as you guys have, but I remember coming to my first event back at the end of 2019, just before COVID. And again, like talk about that buzz in the room, coming into a networking event. Networking is always quite a scary thing for someone like me. Didn't do it in my day job, but you always feel that welcome. There's always someone to meet and greet you on the door, help you out. You never see women sort of stood on their own, or men. Everyone is very much involved. So in my previous role, I was as a side to my day job, I was heavily involved in our own women's network steering committee, EDF, and it was my passion. I absolutely loved that part of my my role. And then when this opportunity came up, and I just thought it was something I really have to do, I absolutely wholeheartedly stand behind everything the network does and stands for. And it was just an amazing opportunity to get involved with something and do something I felt really passionate about day in, day out. And it is amazing working with the advocates, the board members, other colleagues in the network themselves. Everyone is so passionate, and it's amazing to come to work each day and speak to people that feel so passionate about what they do. And we're all driving for the same thing. And, the results speak for itself, amazing numbers of members, partners, some of the events we've had this year, the awards, that's got to be a phenomenal success story really for WUN and where things have come from. So yeah, it's an amazing place to work, and really grateful to be here.
Well, I think that the interesting thing there, just in terms of those pinch me moments, actually, I think we all get so much from the success stories. When you hear about somebody who's been mentored and they've got a new job, or one of your mentees has been, I mean, I often feel like proud mother duck, really, because you're just seeing women thrive and you're seeing the networking happen. And then you hear the stories that are coming off the back of it. So it's not just we've got more and more people. Actually, you're seeing things happen as a result of what we're doing.
And it's amazing to have conversations. We've had some this week in some of the things we've been doing with people who have had success or gained so much from the network in terms of personal, but also career-wise. And I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
So I'm going to come back and ask you a bit more about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing going forward. But I thought, Jo, if you could just maybe kind of describe our structure to the listeners, because obviously we're founders, we have a board and there's advocates, but you give a bit of a flavour for those roles, because I think that might be, we are all volunteers. Aside from me. Aside from Karen. We all do this in our spare time. So I think it'd be useful to kind of explain how
we operate. Yeah. No, well, it's a real team effort. That's the starting point. So we have a board, 7 of us, 8 of us, 7 of us who are, as you say, volunteers, but from different parts of the utility sector. So we've got water and skills and energy, and so a real mix of backgrounds. And I suppose the board, very much typical board, responsible for sort of driving what we're doing and the strategic direction and governance, all those sort of pieces. But then we have a fantastic advocate team who Sharon looks after.
Yeah.
And that team, we're up to 14?
Yeah,
14.
we will be 14, yeah.
And they are really doing so much for WUN. They're helping with events, they're hosting the podcast, they're doing lots of mentoring, lots of advocating for WUN. And they're really the sort of the force behind us. And then we have a small but perfectly formed management team with which Karen is obviously now leading. Can't not mention Helen, who has been with us for over 4 years, who is just a wonder in terms of keeping lots and lots of plates spinning. So she really keeps us on track on the everyday. Lisa helps out a lot as well with the sort of the back engine of the business, and then Karen is now, thankfully, full time,
keeping us all in check.
Keeping us all in check, because WUN has got arms and legs and keeps growing, and so we don't want to halt that by capacity, which is often the challenge when you're holding down a full-time job and everything else that goes with being a busy woman.
See, Sharon, you've come from participating at a WUN event to joining as an advocate, chair of the advocate community, and now on the board.
I know.
I mean, a great journey, which it'd be great to take a bit about that. And also around that advocate community, if someone was watching this and thinking, I want to be an advocate, tell us a bit what it'd be like.
So I guess they're a little bit like the unsung heroes, really. They are just like the arms and their legs behind it all. I mean, I can't say how much they do. They just do the amount of work. But what I do love is, like, not everybody's got a dedicated role. It's right, what needs to be done? Let's get this done. I've got skills in this. I've got contacts in this. Right, you're having a bit of a rough time at the moment. You step back. I'm going to step up and do this. Our little advocate WhatsApp group is one of my favourite things in the whole world ever. Because again, that's something that if somebody's feeling a bit down, it doesn't have to be work related, have a little bit of a rant on then. We all just sort of boost each other up. So if nothing else, that's something amazing I've got out of WUN. I can remember actually when you asked me, I think we'd just been on an I Am Remarkable workshop actually, and I think I nearly had a little tear in my eye when she asked me if I could join the board, because I wouldn't have thought, 6 years ago, going to that first event, that I would make it on the board. And I guess, what have I got out of WUN, apart from some cracking friendships? I think it's made me a little bit bolder. So I can't, stand up there and be very much, advising people. And it has made me think sometimes and reflect a bit in my career. Do you know what? Would I tell one of my advocates that? Would I tell one of the members that? And I've kind of had a little bit of a word with myself. So I think it's made me a bit bolder in my career. I'm probably just a bit bolder in my voice. yeah, just, having the opportunity to progress like this, it's just been amazing.
It's a great story. It is a great story.
I love it.
I do love a great story. So Karen, new to the team, your to-do list is extensive.
Not boring. That's what we keep saying.
It's
not
definitely
boring.
not a boring place to be. It's really exciting, and we've got amazing foundations, haven't we? We've got some amazing things that we've been doing that have continued to grow over the last few years. And, we've taken a lot of feedback from members and partners and across the industry really as to what we can do as a network to help support all of our stakeholders more.
So tell us a bit. So give us a few highlights of the next 12 months. What's WUN got in store?
Okay, so we've got our WUN development framework, which is really exciting, and that will continue to grow and evolve. So that will be a series of different programs aimed at the utilities sector, particularly obviously at women, supporting women in their role, giving them the confidence to look at future roles and to develop into the future, but also to support our partners, looking at how we can help them to develop, to improve their inclusion and diversity. So hopefully it will support both our members and our partners. And I think that's really exciting with some of those programs that we've got available and coming over the next year. I think in terms of our partners going forward, I think it's really important for us to really focus in at the senior executive level to see how we can really get in at the top level and support them in terms of improving inclusion and diversity in their organisations. The events, I think, speak for themselves, the popularity of them. If you look at the numbers that we have signing up for our virtual events, which have obviously taken place since COVID, that will continue to grow as we look into next year. We have offered a number of I Am Remarkable sessions led by WUN advocates and board members over the last year. Looking into next year, we're hoping to increase the numbers of those, and we've had some really positive feedback, some great stories from right back when WUN first started offering I Am Remarkable, that groups of women who still get together now and still network on a really regular basis, all brought together through that framework. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to look at our in-person events. We're a network, so what's really important to us is to provide that space for women, for our members to come together and network, because that's really important, and you get so much from having that network of people outside of your workplace, in terms of knowing what else is out there in the utilities sector, to get that support, which often we need, and to find people with similar stories and backgrounds that can, help you feel that you're not that only voice in the room. So we'll continue to build on those in-person events, looking at doing some more regional, so we can encourage members from all over the UK to come together, and also again looking at smaller partner focused events, so we can really look at what's going on in the industry. How can we support our partners in their journey to inclusion and diversity?
Just a few things.
Yeah, there's
and
a
to
few
rerun
things.
the awards.
Yes, and obviously the network itself has been nominated for an award, and we will also be running our award ceremony ourselves again next year in June. So lots and lots of exciting things to look out for and to keep our members and our partners engaged and thriving.
What are you looking forward to, Jo, in the next 12, apart from having Karen here, which we're all looking forward to?
I think all of what Karen has just outlined, and I think for me, where WUN is now is we've got a louder voice, we've got this partnership, and it's really about how do we leverage our voice more, how do we really help influence organisations, not just to talk about doing diversity, but actually to live it and breathe it. And it's really interesting. We've done our annual survey now. Well, we've done it twice, but we're going to carry on doing it annually. But one of the really big findings there was that it's the culture that needs to change. Quite often, organisations are sort of saying, "We'll fix the women," and actually, it's not about the women. It's about how do you fix the culture in the organisation. So, I think, as Karen said, I think really trying to influence more at sort of that board level area, so we can really do something transformative there as well.
And it's also, we talk about sort of everyone on the journey. It is, and it's not just a women's issue.
No,
it's everyone.
not at all.
We want everyone to feel included in the workplace. So I think it's, bringing male allies into the conversation, having a safe space for them to talk, and for them to champion women within their workplaces as well. I think it's really important that it's not seen as a women's only problem, because everyone needs to feel welcome, included, and know the benefits of that fully diverse and inclusive workplace.
I think you're right, and I think that's something I've noticed is you're saying the voice is getting louder. So male allies at work or people, you think, oh, how do you know about it? And they're like, yeah, you're part of that one, aren't you? But yeah, I am, and that's males, and it's like, oh, right, it's actually getting out there that they're noticing, and it's like, yeah, I am part of that. Yeah, and I do think also that, obviously everybody's welcome, but it is a bit of an exclusive group to be part of, and I think it's definitely something we should be super, super proud of.
I think we all are. You can tell that, can't you?
Yeah.
But I think there's a long way to go. But you look at the numbers, and it's still a hard graft. So we're a long way from there. And there's lots of talk now about actually EDI is a bit overdone, and it's become a sort of hackneyed tick box thing. And it's we haven't got equity yet. We haven't got equality. So I think we need to keep going, and really leveraging what we've got and making as much impact as we can.
Yeah, so that's really important. We know from the stats from EU Skills that women make up only 30% of the workforce in energy and utilities. And we know from the WUN survey that 1 in 3 women are thinking of leaving the sector as well. So it is a continual challenge, isn't it, to grow that number, to get a more balanced workforce and get that equity and equality. So we've got a huge attraction challenge. So the more the network do to help that is going to be important, isn't it? Do you think, Sharon, there are any particular things that we should be looking to do going forward that would help with that?
So I just think it's great to grow numbers, absolutely, better together. But I just think we need to be really conscious of that. And now what? So it's just, making sure we're constantly speaking to our members and our partners and seeing what they want, and, turning all this sort of positive energy and all of these members into sort of actions. So I think we just need to be mindful of the and then what.
Yeah. And that's why we have Karen.
It is
now.
Because we're very good at having great ideas.
Yeah, we don't lack ideas.
No, that is the amazing thing, though, isn't it? The ideas, and you can just be having I was chatting to one of the advocates yesterday, just a really general open conversation. By the time we got to the end of the call, we had 2 or 3 things that we were like, oh yeah, we could do this or we could do that. And there is so much we can do. And so it's about really making sure, whatever we do it with a purpose and with a clear goal in mind, and to support our members and our partners. I think that's really, really, really important.
So over the next few years, we'll see the transition. We've obviously been a network for women, supporting women. We're now, we create the environment, the network for them to thrive in. We're now moving into providing services with Drive, so people can help to develop. And then we're going to look at working with C-suite and boards around the environment in which women work with to make it a better environment for them as well. So broadening, taking on even bigger challenges.
And I think that's probably the unexpected but really important part of WUN. Over 6 years, we have got so much insight and data now on actually what it feels like to be a woman in the sector. So we do our annual surveys, but also just talking to women and talking, be it over dinner, be it in an event, however it might be. We've learned so much that I think we can genuinely give value back to the boards to sort of say, well, actually, this is what it means, and this is what
the lived experience.
This is the lived experience as opposed to the sort of theoretical model.
And sharing some of those best practices, don't we? Know from our network and our advocate community, there are some really
Brilliant
thriving networks within organisations. So it's making sure that we're helping to share those and cross-fertilise across our broader network.
Well, you look at some of the nominations and the winners from the Women in Utilities Awards that we held earlier in the year. There's some amazing case studies, some amazing stories that we've we're hopefully bringing to life through podcasts and blogs and through these video podcasts. So yeah, I think we've got so much material to share with the industry that is, it's really exciting. And yeah, who knows where some of that will lead. Yeah.
So before I ask you for some closing thoughts, I thought we should probably do a bit of a shout out to our partners.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be doing any of the stuff we were doing if we didn't have some fabulous partners who have supported us right from the outset. And as I said earlier, that's gone from going and asking people to fund us to people now ringing and saying, how can we help you? Any thoughts or comments you'd like to share with our partners?
Well, just for me, it's not just partners. And just some of the venues we get to go to as well, which are amazing, and the hospitality, that we're given as well. And it's just being able to have that flexibility, from partners to be able to go and do these lovely events and invite everybody along. I think it's just amazing.
And I think that's so important, because it genuinely, partner support is what enables us to do everything. So the fact we're able to appoint Karen means we can do more. Yeah. And the more we have, the more we can do. So I think just hugely appreciative. And actually what's really rewarding is that the partner pull is now on us. So it's like, can we be a partner? Can we support? Because of recognition. So it feels we're getting some validation as well, and hopefully giving value back to them. Mm-hmm. We don't actually measure the retention rate because it's basically 100%. but that ongoing renewal of partners each year is so important and so valuable for us. Yeah. So we're really grateful.
Excellent. So, Karen, what are you most looking forward to in the next 12 months?
I think for me, it's the events, really, because I think they bring such a special element to WUN, the online events and the in-person events, because it just gives women that really safe space to come to network, to get to know people. And we've said before today what amazing energy and buzz in the room. So I just can't wait to do even more of those next year. I'm really excited about that.
Excellent. Jo?
I think just more and more, and hearing more of the great stories. So the podcasts are a brilliant vehicle for the stories. I mean, these sessions, this is a new innovation today, doing the video podcasts, but hearing stories, hearing that there are like-minded women, that actually one is making a difference. That's really what I love and will continue to enjoy going forward.
Yeah, I echo that as well. The awards this year, I think for me, were the peak of excitement, and very much looking forward to next year. But following up after the awards and speaking to some of the winners, or interviewing some of the winners and hearing their story, being able to take those stories out and share them with the wider community, helping to be part of helping to elevate those women and what they've done is enormously exciting. So I'm really looking forward to doing that again this year. Sharon, I think from you.
Probably just seeing how mentoring grows as well, because that's something which we offer members, giving people the opportunity to be a mentor, having the opportunity to have somebody as your mentor that isn't necessarily that closely connected to you. I always found that quite refreshing. It's that safe space to speak to somebody you don't work with and has got a different opinion and could probably push you a little bit. So we've obviously got the mentoring platform set up now. So I've just, had some really positive feedback on how, WUN members have got on with having mentors, and then the confidence to go on and be a mentor. And I absolutely love that. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how that develops.
So if someone's watching this and thinks, how do I get a mentor? How do I join the network? What do they do?
The best place to look is on the WUN webpage, and all of the information is there. That's where you need to sign up. And then once you sign up, you're able to sort of get our newsletter. Once you're a member, then that opens up a whole sort of raft of information in terms of accessing a mentor or becoming a mentee. So yeah, I just recommend going straight to the webpage.
There's so much on the website.
That's blogs.
So all of our blogs are on there. The podcasts are on there. All of our events are on there. Our mentor, our development program. There's a whole wealth of information on there. And everything that's going on with WUN is on our LinkedIn posts. But yeah, again, on our website, we'll have all of our podcasts and our blogs. So yeah, just
and you can like
access
listen to
them there.
podcasts on your phone, can't you?
Yeah,
That's what I do when I'm traveling.
Often in the car.
I think though as well, it's worth saying. So anybody who's sort of watching this and thinking, "Gosh, it sounds great, but it's too terrifying for me," and I think very often one of the biggest things we've found through everything we've done with WUN is confidence. So actually, almost a message to anybody who's watching this going, "Oh, am I brave enough to do it?" Just come along to an event. You will genuinely feel the warmth, and you will genuinely feel welcomed, and we will find people to talk to you. You don't have to do very much at all, but once you're in, then we can really help. But you need to take that first little step.
I can remember very early days of coming to an event. It might have been before I was an advocate, actually. And one of my senior colleagues was like, "Oh, can I come with you? Because I can't do that networking thing and you can do it." And I was like, "It's okay." And she used to stand up in front of a crowd of like lawyers, legal, and absolutely be the most calmest, confident person in the world, but just was terrified of coming
walking into a room.
Yeah. And she was like, "Oh yeah, it was okay." And I was like, "Yes, it is. And you can go on your own. It's absolutely fine." But it is quite funny how the perception, but it is absolutely not terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about this for networking, because I think that's something we hear so often, is how intimidating people find networking. So definitely find a buddy, come along with someone initially and get that confidence. But you'll never be on your own at a one event, because there's always someone who will speak to you, take you under their wing, introduce you to people, and then you'll be flying.
Brilliant. So any final thoughts then before we wrap up?
My only thought is, it's been 6 years and we've got to where we are today, and we're in the pinch ourselves sort of space. And so for me, it's just about building on everything we've done so far. And, where will we be in 6 years? I think looking forward to another really exciting period.
I think for me, it's a sort of massive thank you to the board and the advocates, because they make mine and Helen's job so much easier, because they're such a supportive group of people, and we couldn't do any of the things we do without those people giving their time freely and willingly. So that would be my thoughts.
For me, just watch your space, I think, really, because we're just currently, constantly evolving. So this is something new. So what's next year going to be when we have another wild idea? So we will see. But yeah, just watch this space. I think the awards obviously new. This is new podcast. Who'd have thought that a few years ago? So watch this space.
Brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about the Women's Utilities Network and get involved, as Karen said, go to our website, www.thewun.co.uk, where you can join our network, you can get involved. And if you've got a story you want to share, or a podcast you want to record, or an article you want to write, then drop us a note and get involved.